All right. Thanks for joining everybody to another Slurv expert chat here for MLB. We are missing Max at least for the first little bit today. I don't know if you guys are watching. We're able to follow along. He's in London, which is kind of even more insane that he had a pretty sick night last night with trying to fit in getting lineups and research and everything done. I'm sure his wife loved it. Um, she was probably pissed at him all day, and then he showed her how much money he made, and she was probably pretty happy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he'll be joining us. We think here at some point during the show. I don't. What's the time difference? I'm terrible at times. I don't know what time it is.
I have no
Like
idea.
6 hours ahead,
So
maybe 5. Daylight savings always throws me, so it's 5, 6.
yeah.
Keep it daylight savings.
So hopefully, Parker says Warriors sweep. That's why I wore the hat. The Warriors are going to sweep the Cavs. It's a total mismatch, and I love all the people talking shit on Steph. So, anyway, let's move on to tonight's slate. As always, bring your questions. We'll keep the conversation rolling, and we like to have fun with a bunch of different conversations, and sometimes go down some bunny trails. But bring your questions in the chat, and we'll make sure to touch on everything that anybody asks or any comments or anything, particularly if you want to talk about Warriors sweep. Or Parker also says it's 10 o'clock in London, so
Okay, 5
you're,
hours.
yeah, you're teaching us. So we usually dive into pitching first, and is about pitching, and it's about a combo that I really like. So it's DK specific, with all the monster stud pitchers tonight. Curse wants to know about combining Scherzer and Price tonight, and is that kind of a doable combo with lineup construction? Adam, what do you think about that?
You said Scherzer and Price?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I like it if you can fit the bats that you want. I don't have an issue with Scherzer today. I mean, I think he's in the best matchup against the White Sox, but you won't feel inclined to pay all the way up to him unless, like, I just have $900 sitting there and nothing to do with it.
What do you think, Steve?
Well, that's the first lineup that I put together was Price and Scherzer together with Yankees, actually. So, yeah, I think it's definitely doable, and I think it's a good idea. I'm on board with Thor, absolutely, but I am a little bit more concerned about him than I am about Scherzer, because I think the Pirates are a much more intimidating offense to him than the White Sox are to Scherzer.
So that's a question I want to pose to you guys, particularly relating to Thor tonight. How do you weigh this elite pitcher, right? You could argue that Thor's the second best pitcher in the league in terms of talent. How do you weigh that and all his abilities against a team that, like the Pirates, that's a pretty damn good hitting team, against right-handed pitching also, even though they're right-handed heavy, make a lot of contact, etc. How do you kind of weigh not the most elite matchup for an elite pitcher?
It's all relative. All depends on what our other options are. Since we got Scherzer at not too much more money in a matchup that I feel much safer in, I like it, especially if we're talking from a cash game kind of perspective, but even in GPP. But that being said, I mean, like you said, he might be one of the two most talented guys there. The park is not ideal for hitters. I'm just looking at the Pirates lineup here. I mean, there's, Marta is not in it, so that's got to be a boost for Syndergaard. However, I mean, Joyce, I don't know what to think about Joyce. He's blowing up some of my ratings, but he also hasn't been in the lineup a whole lot, so it's not that many at bats that we're going off of. He's cheap. He's a lefty. He's good at hitting righties, but does that apply to a guy as good as Syndergaard? I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to find that out.
If I fade Syndergaard and I'm looking for like a cheap one-off, I love using Joyce today as a leverage play. Looking at the Pirates' numbers against two-seam fastballs and sinkers, which Thor's been throwing a lot of this year, they pretty much all suck except Joyce just absolutely murders like two-seam fastballs between 95 and 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's what I saw too in my limited.
Yeah,
Statcast.
I mean it's limited data, but it's like a 400 ISO since the beginning of last season, with like I think it was like 15 to 20 results, and a few home runs in there. So like it's a spot where if you're fading him, I kind of like going the whole way and just trying to get a home run off of him also.
Yeah. None of the Pirates have a home run off Syndergaard. I was just looking at the.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do.
Yeah, the only guys on the Pirates that like come even close to hitting his hard two-seamers well are Joyce and Jung Ho and Polanco, but Joyce is like by far the best.
Right. Although Jung Ho I do like for his chance to take one out of the park, just because that's what he does, kind of.
Well, yeah.
And you got that much power, and the ball's coming in at 100 miles an hour. It goes far.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my concern for me personally with Thor. Is I love him. He's about as elite as it gets. But the Pirates are just good enough. Those three guys in particular, I don't really fear. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't really fear McCutchen or most of the other guys in the lineup. But those three kind of scare me enough, along with the fact that Thor hasn't. He's not Kershaw. He hasn't gone out and just completely dominated every start. I mean, he went to San Diego and was pretty average in a spot that a lot of bad pitchers have dominated. So he's not immune to subpar outings. So with all that kind of, with that plus a plethora of great options, I just don't think I can go Thor. It could burn me, but that's just kind of how I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, if like you're saying, Scherzer is a much safer option. This is a guy who also gives up is guaranteed to give up at least one home run every game. Like it's just every hit he gives up is a home run.
I agree.
So it's not safe or anything. I'm just saying I don't I think Syndergaard is a much safer pitcher in a vacuum than Scherzer is, and so Scherzer having the better matchup today kind of just evens them out in my mind. And then Scherzer is more expensive.
But fair enough. I mean, I guess it depends how much you fear the Pirates versus the White Sox. I mean, and I do like Abreu to be the guy to take Scherzer out of the yard today, just for whatever it's worth. But I'd be okay with that. A 1 earned run, 9, 10 K, 7 innings pitched, and a win. I mean, that sounds great to me. So
I mean, possibly the 2 highest scoring pitchers on the board.
Yeah.
So
could well be.
So another thing so I'm looking at Scherzer's kind of log here, right? He's very he's a big time strikeout pitcher who goes after everybody, thus leaves some pitches in the heart of the plate at times, and they get hammered. But basically every game, he's given up a home run aside from one game against the Cardinals. And while that is scary or whatever, I don't know how, just thinking out loud, how predictive that is. He's given up a home run in every game. Well, he is somewhat home run prone, but this is also an elite matchup, and it's hard to say oh yes, I know he's going to hang one and it's going to get hit over the fence.
I mean, I kind of think
I agree.
But I mean, obviously we can't say for sure, absolutely. But he has worked his way up to a 1.4 home runs per 9, and that, which if he makes it to 7 innings, just about equals 1 per game. So average-wise, we sort of can expect that to happen. And
what does that compare to his career? If if this is this just kind of a bad stretch of home run. Like home runs have proven to not necessarily be luck, but there's a lot of luck involved in
Absolutely.
whether a hard hit ball goes out of the park or not, or just a fly ball goes
It's
out of the park or not.
a low probability event.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is by far the highest home run rate of his career. Pulling it up right
It's up significantly. Actually, it's up to 1.77,
which is crazy. I mean, that's like horrible pitcher rate.
It's almost an 8% jump in his home run.
His home run per fly ball percent. Yeah, so it's 18%, which is high, but it's not stupid high. So you figure like 1.
I mean, I think it's well within range of tolerance. Like, I don't think it's an obvious like, oh, this is an outlier that's going to regress. Like, I think it's just
even out at 10%, but 1.77 is really high. So even if it evens out at 10%, it's not like he's going to stop giving up home runs. He's just not going to give up 2.
Right.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't think that. I think there's enough, hard contact down, home runs per fly ball up. Fly balls up a little bit. I mean, so would I be shocked if he gives up a home run? Absolutely not. But do I necessarily go into, with all of this data, do I necessarily go into this start and say, like, oh my God, I can't pay $13,000 for Scherzer when he's proven his upside it's higher than Thor's.
No, it's not.
Spot.
No, it's not.
In this spot.
I think it's the same. I mean, I don't think it's higher.
Yeah.
I think they both have, top pitcher on the slate upside.
Yeah, top pitcher on the slate, but when does Thor stay in the game to strike out 20 dudes?
I mean, 20, no, but he's done 12.
That's not his actual upside. Like, he did that once, and he'll probably do it like again sometime in the next 3 years. But
hey guys,
like, he has like
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh no, he has like 30 to 35 point upside, like realistically, and that's been like his ceiling all year except for that start. And Thor has the same upside, like regardless of matchup.
So check.
Like, to me, they're just really similar.
I was looking at Scherzer's fly ball percent in addition to the home run to fly ball percentage, and just I'm reading these in order over the years of his career: 31%, 40%, 40%, 40%, 42%, 45%, 42%, 45%, and this year almost 47%. That seems like a trend to me that he's giving up more and more fly balls there. Or is that too close within range to?
It's pretty close range.
I mean, his ground ball to fly ball has gone from 1.33 in his first year to 0.79.
Yeah, the ground ball. Yeah, I would never argue that it's not a trend, for sure. But soft contact up, hard contact down in the same trend over the last couple years, not necessarily from his beginning of his career. But he also wasn't this pitcher in 2008.
Right. Anyway,
ultimately, to me, it would come down to, like, if I can figure out which one's going to be higher owned, I'll gladly take the other one. But I'm not arguing that I think Scherzer's like bad or anything. I just think they're like the same guy today. Like, on FanDuel, I guess I would probably prefer Scherzer $600 apart. But I guess it's only 700 on DraftKings? 900.
900.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If I have the money to go to Scherzer, I guess I would, but it's not something that I would try and like force.
Yeah, see, I think you're right. I think you're right, and I think ultimately I like Scherzer a little bit more. I think I am probably more worried, even than I necessarily should be, like about the Pirates, especially because that park is amazing. And on FanDuel, if we want to bring up FanDuel, I'm more concerned about about Syndergaard getting the win on FanDuel because of his opponent and his lack of run support that I expect.
Yeah. Well, like I said in my video today, and I haven't. Go ahead.
I say that's a good guy to bring up too. His
I can't hear you.
opponent there, because
Tyon.
yeah, is that how you say his name? I have no idea until
2L. I assume so. I could be way the hell wrong though.
I think it's Tyon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we think about him? Because initially I had him in this lineup along with Price, but I just ended up with 4K left over with the bats I wanted, so I moved up to Scherzer.
What do you think?
I
Adam?
love him. I love him. I mean, I prefer Scherzer, but
Yeah.
assuming that we don't have 4K left over, I love him. Like I saw a tweet that in his last 5 starts in the minors, he's thrown like 83 pitches, and then has like 3 starts over 90 and 1 starter. They're limiting his innings this season, but they're doing it by skipping off early and their pitches in the minors. They're not going to suddenly pull him, if he's pitching well. And that Mets lineup is pretty bad today.
It's really
bad. And I don't expect him to be popular either, because he's not like priced like it's his major league debut. So you're not getting like the Urias, like this guy's a 9K talent you're getting for 6K. Like he's a 9K talent you're getting for 9K.
Right.
So like I think I said it to Eric earlier. Like I can see some like higher ownership because he's like this shiny new toy, but I still wouldn't think he gets over 10 late with all those other options.
He's a righty, yeah. The electric,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that should keep some people off of the Mets. So at least when they were hitting well, they were hitting righties a lot better. They've just kind of stopped hitting at all. I don't know what happened, man. Conforto. I used to talk about Conforto every day.
Yeah.
I miss you, Michael Conforto.
He got some line movement in his favor too. That
he doesn't get it going tonight.
The total dropped from 7.5 to 7, and he's a little bit smaller underdog now.
Yeah, that's another reason why, mainly on FanDuel, I am more concerned about Thor's because, the total's dropping, which is fine. It's good for both sides, but it's moving towards Tyon. So
reverse
just
movement
makes me like him
on the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, like I had said in my video, Noah was my least favorite of the 4 pitchers on FanDuel, and that was just like I hadn't watched anything, but that was assuming that he's going to be the guy that everyone goes to just because of name value. Like I would rather take, like on FanDuel, I want to play any of those 4, like whichever I think is going to be the lowest owned, I'll play like happily.
Who are the other 2 in the 4 that you're calling?
Price, Noah, Bumgarner, and Scherzer.
Scherzer, yeah. Okay, interesting. I'm not really on Mad Bum too much.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, I don't think people will be.
Of course, I just checked.
He's playing the Red Sox
model. Go figure.
Yeah, like, I mean he's playing the Red Sox, and people aren't going to target that. But the total in that game is like 6.5, and he's a small favorite, and the Red Sox don't have Ortiz. And so, like, if everyone's going to just not go there, then, like, I'll gladly play him.
I just think I prefer Price in that game. That's my problem. I agree with everything you're saying on that, but I think I prefer Price. So it's been hard for me to like even consider Mad Bum because I can't get past Price. I can't get past Price.
I love Price. Price isn't going to be popular though. Is he? I mean, against the Giants, I don't know.
He won't be on FanDuel. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think FanDuel is going to be Scherzer and Syndergaard, and then like a drop to the other 2.
Right.
Just because they're all bunched together. On DK though, he's like the perfect SP2.
I know.
Like,
God, is that?
Yeah.
He calls.
But again, like.
But he only has a 2.9.
But again, like he's been inconsistent. He's got a bad matchup. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still don't think he'll be like. He's not going to be like mega chalk or anything, like because you can just go lower than him, and there's plenty of options.
Right.
Or you can, use 2 of the higher price guys. Like there's a lot of combos today, so it's not like he's going to be like 25% or 30%. I wouldn't think.
Right.
Especially because he wasn't good in either of his last two starts.
So Doug Parker did kind of have a question while we're talking about all these studs on DK. We've talked about this I think a few times, but just general thoughts on taking two of those studs. He's talking about 10K plus, but I feel like we can lump price into there. I feel like he should be higher priced. It is kind of the biggest thing I keep going back to him.
I kind of wish he was over 10 just for the psychological keep people off thing. Yeah. The 9.4 is like, ooh, David Price for less than 10K. Like, it makes that big a difference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, $600 and his ownership will jump 10%.
Yeah, I think Carrasco is going to go completely unowned at 10.3 right in the middle of a whole bunch of
things. He should.
Probably.
I don't know why he's that price and Price is 9.4.
I would like Carrasco if he was going to be allowed to go deep into the game.
Yeah, I know, and that's the issue there. It's a total dice roll on that, and I'm not really in the mood. But I mean, someone's going to go to even Yu Darvish first, I would think.
Yeah,
I think some people will like Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about you.
Yeah. Like, I'd be interested because they've been increasing his pitch count. So I'd be interested if so many people weren't talking about him, but I'm not going to chase. I'm not like you're trying to chase high strikeout upside with the guy who's not going to be allowed to throw over 100 pitches.
Right.
For that to actually work, you have to get so lucky because he has to just not give up any hits and strike guys out on 4 pitches.
Oddly enough, Colby Rasmus
go deep into the game
has just destroyed him over his career. Did you guys see these PVP numbers? I mean, they're not huge, but 7 for 15 with a home run, a double, and a triple.
Wow.
A triple?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Which probably means he hit it 450 feet to center field.
Exactly.
And a home run anywhere else.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Oh, I miss the days.
And another. I like those Astros too because Astros too because if. Even if he is striking guys out, if you play like an Astros one-off, if he's striking out a lot of guys, he's going to be out of that game by the 5th or 6th inning, and you're going to get at-bats against the bullpen.
Right.
Like, the odds of him throwing a complete game and having a great, striking a bunch of guys out are really low unless they just decide that he's not on a pitch count anymore and aren't telling anybody.
Which is unlikely.
Which is, basically impossible. I totally agree. I mean, I wish in this spot, A, people weren't talking about Darvish, and B, I knew he was going to be able to throw 110 pitches or whatever. But it's literally the opposite. And so, like you said, I have some interest in Astros bats pretty much any slate. And so the Rasmus thing is super interesting. I know you, Adam, you kind of brought it up as I don't think the price of these guys helps us, but potentially stacking them. But I would be interested in a one-off here or there, and maybe Rasmus fits that bill. Mm-hmm. Although I don't,
for sure.
I don't know how many times I can keep using that.
Yeah, I agree with
that. And him going 0 for 4.
Yeah, I think his only good game recently was when I was at the mansion and he was in my lineup until 3 minutes before lock, and then I took him out and he doubled.
Oh,
well, because he was I
had all
uber chalk
last night.
Yeah. I had him and Altuve in my lineup, and I was just this is too chalky. So I switched from Altuve up to Murphy, and then paid down to Marisnik. And Marisnik lined out to a diving catch first at bat, and I don't think I watched another pitch the rest of the day.
That's funny. So I think we kind of talked mostly about the ownership of those top pitchers, right? Did you guys want to talk any more about kind of those top pitchers, potentially pairing them together? I think Parker was kind of pointing out that we kind of keep going back to Adam when you had a really good day on DK. and won your final seat. That was what you did. And then last night, totally different kind of slate, but that's what Max did. He took Hendricks and Greinke, and then the cheap stack in the Mariners.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like it last night, but it worked out obviously.
Yeah.
But that was just because like to me in general on slates like tonight, I like doing it. On slates like last night, I don't, because like last night the guys that were really expensive were only really expensive because everyone else on the slate sucked. Tonight, the guys that are really expensive get pitchers. Last night, I didn't want to do it because I just felt like I'm paying down a hitter just to, I don't know, do nothing at pitcher. Like just to pay $12K for Zach Greinke or 11K for Hendricks.
Who struck out two guys?
Zach
Greinke had 2 strikeouts. 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like to me, since I was able to find other guys that I liked in Pineda and Arias, I didn't want tonight. But like on a slate like this, I don't want to try and find I'm sure there is a better point per dollar pitcher in that mid range, but I don't really want to try and guess that I get him and then hope that 5 stud pitchers all suck. I would rather just find bats that I like that work with 2 really good pitchers.
Agreed. I mean, there's no one below Tyone that I really even want to consider. Yeah,
I mean, I'm interested in Eovaldi.
Yeah, that's.
I want to dig more into Taijuan Walker, but
so cheap.
Yeah, Taijuan. I don't know about. Man, if it were in St. Louis, Garcia would be much more interesting. But in Cincinnati, I don't want any pitchers there.
I think Garcia's hurt or something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, his price is down to $6,700, and as we've said a couple times, DK hasn't been wrong about those.
I'm very interested in Cincy today, just because something.
At home.
I think something's wrong with him. Yeah.
So coming from a Cardinals fan, this is the exact point where I feel like, so I'm super interested in the Reds, because this feels like the exact point we've seen with Jaime just about every year, where he shows us the beginning of the season, he shows us some phenomenal talent. He starts to break down. He has no control, so he gets behind 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 to a guy, and then he grooves a cookie right down the middle, and gives up 3 bombs in a game, and then he hits the DL. This happens every year. This is it's the most frustrating thing ever about Jaime as a Cardinals fan, that this stretch that he's in right now, this feels like we're about to hit a DL stint, because he was so good at the beginning of the year, and now he has fallen apart against, Milwaukee, Washington, Arizona, Colorado. These are not teams that are bad offenses, but you shouldn't not strike anyone out and pitch 12 total innings against those guys.
It's painful to watch.
Right. It's horrible.
Yeah. And I don't have his velo stats up in front of me, but just looking at his strikeouts, if you look in his first 6 starts of the season, he had less than 5 strikeouts once, and then his last 4 starts are 3-0, 4, and 3. Something's not right anymore.
Yeah, something's fishy in Denmark. All right.
Is that a saying, or
from Hamlet? Something amiss in Denmark? I was just never mind.
Sorry, I'm not a Hamlet.
Philistine. What did you do in college? Learn math and stuff?
I
got into this industry from the sports side, not the Shakespeare side.
So one other thing on, I know we haven't gotten into all the different stacks and hitters and whatnot, but the Cardinals bullpen is atrocious as well. Even the lefty specialist, Seagrass, can't get a lefty out. So, if Jaime pitches, if you get to Jaime in the first 3 or 4 innings, and I don't foresee him going past 5, even if he's pitching decent, because he's so inefficient right now. But you get to him, and then you get into this awful bullpen, and with all the Reds' power in that park, there's big upside in my opinion.
Which brings me to an interesting point, actually, because the top-rated outfielder in Dong Finder today is Jay Bruce, and I think it's super sneaky because people might brush off the lefty-lefty matchup.
I totally agree. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it. Oh God. Now you're getting getting
know.
people posting about the Hamlet quote in chat.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us.
We're getting Wikipedia or whatever posts about something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
There you go. Something is rotten. It's been a few years since I was in college.
I guess at least I'm learning something today, so that's good. But I agree. I mean, it feels painful to put lefty-lefty in your lineup, but it feels painful for everybody. So.
Yeah, I mean, and his numbers against lefties, WOBA and ISO-wise, look like shit. So hopefully people will see that and either not consider how badly Garcia has been pitching lately, or not think about the fact that they're going to get to that bullpen that is awful. So I like it. I mean, I've been a fan of them lately. I had a red stack yesterday. It's like the only thing that made me any money. And I like Duvall too, even though he's actually reverse splits guy.
Yeah, but it's not like you're afraid to put him in against I mean, that dude hits the ball so hard it doesn't matter.
I saw some things on Twitter where people are saying, like, is he Trevor Story but better? And I was, thinking about it. It's hard to argue too much. He's up to what, 15 home runs now? 14? Somewhere in there?
Something like that.
Yeah,
a lot. He's like Mark Trumbo light.
Yeah, he is. All he does is hit home runs.
Yeah. 17 home runs for Duvall.
Wow. All right, there you go.
Who's going to be the guy that hits the home run off of Scherzer? It's Todd Frazier.
Yeah? You think Frazier over Abreu?
Frazier's ISO against Scherzer's fastball is 309, and Abreu's is 074.
Ooh.
That makes some sense.
So yeah.
Is there anybody else?
It's the jump in ISO on his fastball is from Frazier at 309 to Avila at 173.
Ooh.
Huh.
So fade Syndergaard, fade Scherzer, and just play Joyce and Frazier and win all the money.
That's true. I mean, you'll knock out. What percentage of the field do you think you knock out?
That has like one or the other.
One or the other. It's got to be a huge
75,
number.
I mean,
all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. So you play Price and Tyon or whatever other top pitchers that you want. Play those two guys. They both dong, and you're getting them at what? I mean, I know Frazier's 3.4, and
they're gonna be like
stupid
3%,
cheap.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's an interesting strategy.
I wouldn't do both, but
no. I mean, maybe if you're in just a ridiculously massive GPP, playing for first.
Yeah, if you're
or actually
moonshot or something.
Yeah.
Or a Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Q is what, 300 tonight on DK or something.
Yeah.
And like 500
on
FanDuel,
DK.
so
500
probably don't need to get that cute because it's not that big of a field.
No.
But when they toss out the $3 Qs or whatever,
right. Yeah.
I would do it in that.
Yeah, you got to get pretty cute in those.
Yeah. Any other, before we kind of move on to this, I know we talked a little bit about hitters. Any other pitchers that you wanna bring up?
I like Eovaldi. I haven't looked super in depth at him yet, but he's just a huge favorite, and if you're not paying for too expensive pitchers, I think his numbers this year are legit. So I'm trying to pull up one thing on him right now. His out of the strike zone, and that's one thing about the Angels. They don't strike out a lot, but they chase pitches out of the zone. So I'm not saying he has huge strikeout upside here, but I think it's a pretty nice spot for him if you're not paying up for other guys.
I agree. I don't know what he is on FanDuel either. I don't have it open.
He hasn't pitched less than 5 innings yet this season, so that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, I think he's legitimately a good pitcher now.
Yeah, I like him just in general as a pitcher. I don't know that I'd use him tonight, but I think he's
right. Oh yeah, for sure.
I think he's good.
Yeah, Tillman's in the same class for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now he has all speed stuff that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
He's what is it, a splitter?
Splitter, yeah. Which is insane because he throws this 99-mile-an-hour fastball and then he drops a splitter that's actually been good and he keeps it down. How he's a flamethrower that gets insane ground ball is that's rare.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So from attack the.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead.
Say from an attack the pitcher perspective, what do you guys think about Shields?
I want to look more into him because he's only 6K on DraftKings.
Well,
so,
I meant from a guy to target, first started.
No, I know. I'm saying he's a guy that I could see being very excited either way, depending on what I'm able to find about him. I definitely don't mind targeting him.
Let me throw some numbers there. So for against Nationals against right-handed pitchers, fastballs in the 88 to 93 mile an hour range, Daniel Murphy is averaging 581. 25 for 43.
Not bad, yeah.
Wilson Ramos 444, Brendan 419. Stephen Drew, actually a guy I wanted to bring up because he has 500 or so BVP versus Scherzer as well as this. He's 385 there. I'm sorry, against Shields, not against Scherzer. And then it kind of falls off from there. Nobody wants Ben Revere and Michael Taylor anyway. And the ISO is in the same kind of neighborhood. Murphy's is 465. Harper's is 400.
So I will say that the first thing on Shields was I know in the strategy that some people and sometimes I like to employ of in cash finding that Adam brought up Wainwright last week the one, I forget who that was against, but he's just underpriced. They'll let him throw a bunch of pitches and throw a bunch of innings and he doesn't get completely shelled. I thought Shields kind of fell into that category. This was before digging into anything, but at 6K it felt semi attractive. But I don't think I'll use him. The slate's just too strong at pitcher. But it was interesting to me at least.
He's just he's a veteran pitcher. He isn't great, but generally he doesn't get torched.
No, his last game he got destroyed, but that was it.
He does get torched, though, no?
Yeah.
He did in his last outing against them. It was the launching pad. Mariners just hit 6 home runs or whatever.
Right, yeah, 2.2 innings.
Yeah, but other than that, he's never really gotten blown out.
Yeah. All right. I can see it. Is the Nats lineup? Probably is.
Yeah, I think the Nats lineup is out. It's Drew's in it.
Also, I just pulled up Nat's stats against changeups, and in his velocity range, and for the lefties, it's not too good. 6 ISO, but then Murphy is at 0.88. Revere is 0.41. Espinosa is 237. And that's actually what he throws to lefties the most, so it's 25%.
Yeah, Espinosa he's hitting 9th.
Is that lineup out?
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah.
Just saw it.
Yeah, changeup and the cutter are the ones that they struggle on, but the knuckle curve and the fastball, they're both but when I say both, I'm mainly looking at Harper and Murphy. They're both good at that.
Yeah.
Really, I'm mainly looking at Murphy. I'm I'm not looking to stack up the Nats, but either Harper and Murphy, or even just a Murphy one-off, I think I really like.
Yeah. But especially, like, I've really liked Murphy ever since he's finally hitting us when they pitch around Harper. It's just somebody on base for Murphy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just so expensive on DK.
Yeah, he is. I kind of like that too, because then nobody's going to be on that one-off, you know.
Yeah, I'm just finding it. I don't know about you guys. I haven't totally dove into lineup construction, but I've found it difficult to pay up for those 5K guys. That being said, I've had one of the elite starters in a lineup when I've been doing that so far, and I'm interested in Price Tyon pairing. So we'll see if that helps.
I would have to go to like a Price Tyon, or at least step it down from Scherzer Price to go with my Yankees stack, and get rid of Castro, which I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm ambivalent on that. He kind of profiles in the middle stat-wise, but he's been hot, so.
Yeah. Who's higher on the Yankees or the Cardinals on DK?
Yankees.
Right.
Price, only because of Price, I think. You can get most of the Yankees.
So is it going to be Yankees, Cardinals, and people overlook the Rangers?
I thought you said you don't want to stack against Doug Fister. Didn't we have this conversation like last week?
We did have this conversation.
Yeah. I don't like stacking righties against him. He gets a lot of ground balls against righties. He doesn't against lefties.
Yeah. Odor's back.
I haven't looked at the Texas lineup.
I know
Odor's lead off Mazzara. So I guess really just Odor, Mazzara.
Yeah.
I like a lot.
Yeah, because they insist on having Prince in there and hit fifth.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mazzara at 4K is pretty nice, hitting third. And it's hot as hell out there too.
Yeah.
92 degrees.
Yeah. I love Mazzara all day, every day. So.
Yeah.
He's just a great player.
Yeah. Carrasco's one of my favorite. Or not Carrasco. Mazzara's one of my favorite plays.
Total side note. Did you get, this was like a week and a half ago or whatever, when he hit that like 470-foot bomb?
Yeah.
Did you happen to see? That was unbelievable. I mean,
yeah.
When Stanton does it, it's kind of like, okay. But when a guy like that does it.
He doesn't look that big, like.
No.
But he's strong, apparently.
Yeah, no shit. So let's, while we're moved on to hitters here, let's talk about Steve. From a tournament perspective, what is your favorite offense to target tonight? Where do you find yourself going mostly?
I don't know. One of the ones that is kind of. I mean, honestly, I'm not so sure where Yankees and Cards are going to play out, because everything I've seen is much more love for Cards than Yankees, outside of like McCann for the most part, because Molina sucks. But Minnesota was actually kind of popping up to me, especially now that Grossman's hitting second. The little Nunez Grossman worked out so well for Max yesterday. I haven't run any of the stuff against what Chen throws, but it's not like he's been amazingly dominant this season. And they fit pretty well. And they're kind of overpriced, honestly, a little bit. Maybe not. Nunez.
In a vacuum, Eduardo Nunez for 4.2 is probably not good. But
I mean, he looks overpriced, but if you look at what he's been doing, last 10 games, he's 18 for 45 with 5 home runs and 4 stolen bases. So yeah, my initial thing was actually some Yankees, and then I still like Buxton too. I kind of like that wraparound 9-1-2. But then I usually like the wraparounds just because even if it's a popular stack, you almost always get differentiation going on there. And then I still kind of, we mentioned the Pirates, that we liked a couple of them specifically. So I mean, I don't know if it's a full stack kind of night outside of the chalky ones maybe a night to be chalky like that and try to differentiate in one-offs and a little bit in pitching, maybe? I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I think there's spots that you can find that aren't going to be chalky. Because the Yankees will be chalky, and I don't think Weaver's good, but he is a guy that tends to limit damage against him. So I don't mind, not having exposure to that if I'm, only playing like a couple lineups. And then, St. Louis I think is very good chalk. But they're at least, you can't be too chalky with them because you'll end up just being different at pitcher.
Right.
I could see, I don't know what people are going to do with the Cardinals because people are going to want to play the pitchers they want to play Cardinals bats. Adams, who is just always on their own because of his position. So I could see where people really like the Cardinals, but they don't end up on them as heavily just because there's other options.
I could see that. I mean, Carpenter is like the juiciest play ever, but he's also 5.3 on
right. Yeah, and he's also a third baseman.
Yeah, and Piscotty is another one that's really expensive.
Yeah,
they are all except Adams.
Yeah, and Adams is in a sweet spot. I mean, if you're playing cash, put Matt Adams in there, I think.
Well, then also you can be different in the card stack because if you stack the Cardinals without Carpenter, you're Carpenter, and you can just play one of the million other third basemen that is in a good spot. Yeah.
Also, at least on FanDuel, because I'm not sure about the positions on DK, but on FanDuel, I bet you could differentiate by putting a Laidmus instead of Peralta in there.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Peralta's min salary, and a Laidmus is 34 or something.
Yeah.
And Peralta was still min yesterday when he first came back and was $1 billion % owned and paid everybody off.
Exactly.
So they're just gonna go right back.
Exactly.
And I think you do the opposite today because I think it's Peralta's 3.7 and Diaz is 3.2, so or 4.2. I'll stick with Diaz. He's batting higher.
Right.
So I think you can just go Peralta.
Yeah.
Especially if you're skipping Carpenter, you just start at 3.
I like starting at 3.
Get some Richuk in there at the bottom of the lineup. Is he in there?
Yeah. He's batting 8th. I don't know why they do that, but he's batting 8th.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I don't either.
Molina should never be batting ahead of Grichuk ever.
Molina should just never be batting.
Yeah, I mean, when Wainwright pitches, they should use their DH on Molina. Or they don't have a DH, I guess, but if they did.
I wish they'd invent one for Yachty to not. Yeah, quite frankly, Holiday could actually extend his career because that dude is lost out in left field. So if he could just hit for Yachty, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I forgot that I was just talking about how much I like Cincinnati as a contrarian kind of play. Actually, I don't mind game stacking that either and stack some of the chalky Cardinals options with some of the less chalky Jay Bruce, Duvall, I don't know, maybe Votto. I haven't looked too much at the specifics of it.
Nah, if I'm game stacking, I want Adams, and I hate Votto anyway. So
yeah, you're right. Adams would be.
Why do you hate Votto?
I don't know. I just don't like him. He chokes up 6 inches on the bat, and he's a first baseman. And sit back, get your hands all the way, get off the end of the barrel so you can get some torque and hit the ball far. Stop being a contact hitter. You're a first baseman.
Seattle's looking a lot
so hard though.
Honestly.
I know he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually looking at them now. I like them. I need to pull up Carrasco's splits, but I definitely like the Mariners.
Yeah, I mean, they aside from Cruz and Gutierrez, it's pretty much all lefty. Oh, and Iannetta, I guess, but
so cheap. They're cheap. They're just.
Well, and Cruz and Gutierrez.
Yeah, Cruz is still is 3.6. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are people going to play him because he had 2 home runs yesterday? Or are they going to not?
They're not.
No.
How do they only have a 3.7 run total? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that just seems wrong.
What do you
God,
guys think about Franklin Gutierrez as a? I guess he don't even need to be contrarian within Seattle, but his ISO is actually
I was looking at that.
against right-handed pitching. Why ask? Because he's way up there in Dong Finder. 52% hard hit, 97 mile an hour average EV.
They're 2 through 6.
I was just playing around with a. I was just playing around with a Mariner stack, skipping Seager and using Gutierrez.
Oh yeah.
Are you skipping Seth Smith or using 5?
I used 5. I just skipped Seager.
That's interesting. 10. Wow. Yeah. Gutierrez 2.7.
Yeah.
So one stack that we haven't talked about that has really kind of jumped out at me in the little bit of like true digging that I've done is the Dodgers, and I don't really want to say, when I say a stack, I don't mean like full 5. I would never go that. I don't know that I can even go further than 3, maybe 4, but Chris Rusin, despite the fact that I recommended him like a month ago or whatever,
and he worked.
It did kind of work. Is not anybody that you fear, and the prices on some of these Dodgers lefty mashers are pretty insane. I can get Kike and Trace, possibly what's his name? Scott Van Slyke.
Yeah.
Turner isn't really a lefty masher, but 2.9K on DraftKings at third base for a guy that's going to hit right in the heart of the order around those guys is interesting to me too. I have those guys also all not necessarily this year because Kike has sucked this year and Turner has sucked this year, but have hit the combination of fastball sinker really well for their career. So that's Rusin. That's like 75 to 80% of what Rusin throws. So I'm definitely interested. I don't know if you guys have looked into the Dodgers at all.
I mean, if Van Slyke's in there, then I really like that 3-person thing. Otherwise, the only thing that really kind of puts me off there is I have just seen everybody like wearing it's Kike Day t-shirts practically. Like people are like chomping at the bit to put Kike in their lineups against Rusin. Which doesn't mean that I won't have him. It's just been like rabid dogs out there. I mean, Grinders Live for the Cash Game show, they were just like, oh, God, I hope Van Slyke and Kike are in here. Yeah, so that always puts me off a little bit, but I do love Kike a whole lot. And if all 3 of those guys are in there, especially, kind of like what we said about taking up your entire outfield with one team, I think that's a really interesting little positional sweep mini stack.
Yeah, definitely people don't like to do that. I'd be curious to see what Kike's ownership will be. At the beginning of the year, he was more popular because everybody remembered last year and him paying people off all the time. And he's been pretty bad. He had a home run against Leicester last time. He led off, but he hasn't been very good, and his ownership has nosedived because of that as well. So I'll be interested to see. I mean, he's not going to be 1%, obviously, but I'll be interested to see.
I mean, on FanDuel, he'll be more because I think he's like 26 there. He's like 32 on DK. Yeah. So on FanDuel, I think he's really kind of a duh play, which I prefer to avoid duh plays whenever I can.
Yeah.
And Jonathan VR at 5.3 seems like such madness. Oh, Dodgers lineup just came out. Van Slyke batting 5th. Trace batting 4th. I like this a lot.
So
that's really good.
Skip Agon.
Who the hell is Austin Barnes?
they just called him up the other day.
he any good? He's
I was
3K already.
I was looking at him because of that exact thing. I'm like, I like the Dodgers. How do I get some different exposure here? But not a lot of pop. He's kind of a utility guy, which is weird because he catches, but he plays everywhere. He plays everywhere basically. He's more of a speed contact guy. He hit all right. He was hitting all right in the minors, just not a lot of pop.
I wonder what he's actually playing today.
Yeah, good question. Because Ellis is in.
Yeah, Ellis is not playing somewhere else.
No.
They just kind of wheel Ellis into place and then move him when it's time for the next inning. Let's see. Oh, he's playing second base.
Anybody else that we haven't? What other areas are you looking to attack with your bats? We brought up Twins, Dodgers, Cardinals, Reds, Yankees. Obviously, of kind of who we touched on. A little bit of Mariners too. Anywhere else?
Marcus Semien one off against Chase Anderson.
I don't mind the A's entirely. Well, yeah.
No, not the A's, just Semien.
No, I mean I know. I got what you said, and I don't mind that for sure. Yeah, looking at the lineup, I'm far less interested than I thought I was. It's just Chase Anderson, It's get some get-fighters against him.
But he's a reverse split guy.
Okay.
If Chris Davis were in the lineup, maybe.
I would love Chris Davis if he was in the lineup. No, this is like a similar spot for. I played Anderson his last start against whoever he was. I don't remember who he was playing against, but I got him at really low ownership. Was it? Yeah, it was the Phillies, but they had like a bunch of lefties out there, and he was low owned because he's Chase Anderson, and he went out and had a really good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I would rather play Chase Anderson than stack the A's, but I really like Semien.
Well, I mean, that's like the worst of two options, but
yeah, it's like the opposite of us arguing Syndergaard versus Scherzer. We're doing A stack versus Anderson.
I didn't know if the Red Sox were going to do this, but apparently they've been looking at BVP too because Josh Rutledge is in the lineup. And he joins Chris Young as having a pretty silly BVP against Mad Bum. And
I played the. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, no, I played the Mad Bum BVP card earlier this year and got the Kike double dong.
Yeah.
Double dong, yeah.
Me too. Let me see. I had that up earlier. Chris Young is 7 for 20 with 2 doubles and a homer. And Rutledge is 8 for 21 with a double, a triple, and a homer.
A lot of that was probably in Colorado.
Yeah.
Could be.
For Rutledge.
But it's just interesting. I didn't expect Rutledge to be in the lineup at all today. And then I saw the PvP thing, and I went, I wonder. And then they put him in there.
Yeah.
There's Giants.
No, I take the Chris Young into account a lot more because Bumgarner sucks in cores combined with it being a good place to hit.
Right.
So I would discount Rutledge, but the Chris Young I think is really interesting.
The Giants lineup is predictably crappy. Although Trevor Brown's up to 6th. If you're not playing Price, I like that for a nice catcher punt.
Yeah. So is Price the only guy that? Is Price the only one of the studs that we don't have like a one-off that we really like against him?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Trevor Brown would be the closest thing to that, and that's just, I know. Yeah. I see you shaking your head at me.
No, that's a correct statement. No,
you're definitely right.
Yeah.
No, I will not play Trevor Brown.
Whenever you say these things, it's like guaranteeing these guys home runs.
Oh, I know. I know. He's going to pull a Ryan Howard.
Oh, man, when that happened. I freaking died. Oh, that was great. That's pretty much it, though. I mean, David Price is my favorite pitcher on the slate, I think. I mean, not saying he's going to be the highest scoring pitcher, but all things considered, I really like him. It's just, man, who are you going to fear in that lineup? Matt Duffy batting cleanup? Like no Pence, no Posey, Kelby Tomlinson batting second, Mac Williamson batting eighth. Like,
Yeah. And it's a lot of lefties too.
yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're just waiting on the Rockies lineup now, those bastards.
Yeah.
But any other questions? Because I think we got to make some lineups.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you want to call? No more questions that I'm seeing. Do you want to call a couple home runs real quick, Steve?
Yeah. I didn't mention much about the Dong Finder because there's not that many good ratings today. Like, it's one of those. Some days it's just like tons of good ratings, and some days not that many. So I don't know if Dong Finder is this predictive, but maybe there won't be that many home runs today. The only one that I didn't talk about that I kind of wanted to throw out there is Travis Shaw against Mad Bum, because nobody recognizes Shaw's reverse splits, and he has some seriously better ISO against left-handed pitching.
He's not in the lineup.
Oh, well, fuck. All right. See what I mean? Even the Red Sox don't recognize his reverse splits. All right, never mind.
That's who your boy Rutledge is playing over.
Yeah, Rutledge took Shaw's spot.
Okay. All right. Well, never mind. Go on. Make some home run calls, and I'll
So I'm gonna go ahead here, and I am gonna take my boy Trace off resin, and let me see. And this, I feel like this. I don't care. It's chalky, but Matt Adams.
Cool.
Todd Frazier and Mazzara.
I got Jay Bruce and Matt Joyce.
Jay Bruce, I like it. All right, so everybody, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the questions. We'll be in the chat. Yeah, you can hang out on the page where the video is at in that chat, or when you go over to like the actual chat app, you can pull up the Expert Chat League from within there. Wherever you kind of feel more comfortable, we'll be in there talking. You can ask any more questions while we're building some lineups. But thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Good luck, guys.
See you guys.